Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So this business has just hit a milestone, and actually we've made $1.6 million in the last 30 days, which is absolutely freaking insane. But in this episode of Backstage, which is the series where I take you behind the scenes of this YouTube channel and this business and share the learnings along the way so you can hopefully learn from it, I'm gonna be sharing 7 life and business lessons that me and my team have learned over the last couple of months, building up a product to the point that we've been able to make $1.6 million in a 30-day period. So let's get started with lesson number 1. Alex Hormozi has a concept that he calls ignorance debt. And basically what he says is that at the start of a journey, when you're starting a business or doing anything, you spend a long time paying off ignorance debt, i.e. it's debt that you are under because you're just ignorant about things and you don't have the relevant knowledge or the relevant skills.
You will get outsized returns on the information. As soon as you have that knowledge, you'll be able to skyrocket straight to 20, 50, 100, 500,000 a month.
Now, broadly, I think of myself as someone who's pretty good at learning stuff. I like to do things and then I like to learn things as well. And I've read so many business books over the years, but a few months ago when it came to launching this latest cohort of our part-time YouTuber Academy, I just didn't take the concept of sales and marketing very seriously at all. And this was a massive hole in my knowledge. And it was only when I was chatting to my CEO coach, his name's Eric, I'll link stuff down below. He and I had a session in Q3 of last year, 2022, where we were identifying areas in which I can level up as a leader. And he asked me, when it comes to running a business, what's your weakest area? And I said, oh, probably sales and marketing, because I literally know nothing about sales and marketing. But then a few weeks later, he kept on being like, hey, have you started reading those books yet? Have you started reading those books yet? And then I decided to read the books. I read .com Secrets by Russell Brunson and $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi and Copywriting Secrets by Jim Edwards, someone like that. And those books, all 3 of them were completely mind-blowing because they leveled me up from here to here in sales and marketing in the space of 3 books. And collectively, those 3 books have added so much value in top and bottom line to the business. And yeah, I really wish I'd paid off this ignorance debt sooner. And actually, there's another lesson that I got again from our CEO coach, Eric, who said that essentially when you're trying something new, everything you need to know is already in someone's head. And it's just your job to get that knowledge out of someone's head. And so the way you get this knowledge out of people's heads is by either reading their book or taking their course or listening to them on podcasts or even speaking to them face to face. And so one of my friends, Cliff Weitzman, who's the founder of a company called Speechify, I interviewed him on my Deep Dive podcast, link over there or down there somewhere. One of the things he does is that when he wanted to get good at learning a particular skill, he would find the top 100 people who are doing that skill.
A Google Sheet of the 100 people who knew about the topic the most.
He would send them cold emails.
And then I'd message every single one of them.
And then he would literally hop on a Zoom call with them for half an hour and then ask them about stuff. And at the end of the Zoom call, he would say,
this is amazing. You know so much about performance marketing. Can I come say hello in person?
And if they said yes, he would buy a ticket to go to their town on the weekend and then grab a coffee with them. And that was how he leveled up his skills. So one of the main lessons I'm taking away from all of this stuff is this importance of leveling up. Because when it comes to making money, really, your ability to make money is directly proportional to the amount of skills that you have acquired over time. And you acquire skills through investing time, sometimes money, sometimes sweat, sometimes experience. And the more you level up those skills, the more your own, personal stock price or money-making power increases. And what that results in is a feeling of financial confidence rather than necessarily financial security. Now, at this point, a lot of people have a question around how do you balance out reading and doing the thing? And the way I think of it is the foundation is action, but reading and acquiring knowledge goes on top of the pillar of the foundation of taking action. So for example, let's say someone wanted to learn web design as a skill. What I would recommend is don't just try and pay off your ignorance debt by reading books about web design and watching videos in the first instance. Start by doing the thing. And as you're consistently making progress in doing the thing, then actually the stuff you read becomes way more applicable. For example, the book $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi was the main book that we followed step by step to craft the offer, which was what we put on our sales page for our YouTuber Academy, which generated this insane amount of revenue in 30 days. And we literally followed a step-by-step method. But it's not that I read the book and then tried to sell something. It's that foundation of action was then complemented by reading the thing. And I kind of wish I'd read the thing earlier, but I'm glad that I still had the bias to action of doing the thing. And so one mistake you can make is by not reading enough, by just being too quick to take action. But I suspect the problem that more people have is that they're too slow to take action and too quick to just jump to the books and the reading and all that stuff. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, then you might like to subscribe to Sunday Snippets. This is a weekly email that I send every Sunday, and I've been doing it since 2018. For the last 5 years, I've been sending this weekly email, and it's quite short. It's just got a few thoughts, something I learned that week, and then a few links to books or podcasts or articles and stuff that I've read. It's completely free. It will always be free. You can unsubscribe whenever you want. And often with videos like this where I've been thinking about these lessons for the last 2 months. I've shared some of these lessons in a little bit more of an elaborate format in Sunday Snippets. So you can always get more real-time updates as to what I'm learning as I'm learning it if you sign up to that. So let's talk about a specific lesson when it comes to the world of marketing. And there's a few a few things that we really learned as a business and kind of me personally that allowed us to get to this $1.6 million in 30 days point. And those three things are number one, offer creation, number two, copywriting, and number three, funnels. So let's start with offer creation. This is like terminology that I didn't even know what an offer was before I started reading this book and realizing, oh my God, this is a thing. I wish I'd known this 10 years ago. An offer is basically the thing that you are selling. It's like you're making an offer to someone. Hey, would you like to buy this thing? This is the offer that I'm giving you. I will give you X in return for Y. And Hormozi talks in the whole book about like how to craft a $100 million offer, where his vibe is you want to create an offer that's so good that people feel really dumb saying no to it. And so that means you want the value of the offer to be way, way, way higher, 10 times higher, if not more ideally, than the price of the offer. Let's say I were to offer you a, I don't know, iPhone 13, and I were to charge you $10 for it. That's an offer that you would feel dumb saying no to if you thought it was actually legit. If I literally said, hey, give me $10 and I'll give you this fully working iPhone 13, because you know the value of an iPhone 13. And so really when it comes to crafting an offer, the thing that we've learned is that you've got to think about the offer first and like the delivery second, because fundamentally the thing that people are buying is the offer. So when it comes to our course, we were really thinking about what is the gold standard? Like what is the absolute best offer that we can make? And then once we have crafted that offer, let's then worry about how we're going to then fulfill that offer. And just that mental model shift of offer and delivery being like two different things was a massive level up in the way that we've been thinking about our business. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering what I do with all the excess cash that this business generates, I invest it in index funds, mostly in the S&P 500. And the app that I personally use to invest is called Trading 212, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. Now, Trading 212 is a fantastic app that allows you to invest in basically anything in a sensible fashion. And there's a couple of cool things about it. Firstly, it's got like a practice mode where you can invest and trade with fake money. So if you're new to the world of investing and you don't like the idea of like putting real money on the line, you can invest with fake money, and then it actually tracks what the markets are doing in real time. So you can see how much money you would have made or you would have lost. But my favorite part about it is that it makes it super easy to invest in index funds. As you guys know, if you've seen any of my videos about money, I do not recommend trying to pick your own stocks, but instead investing in broad stock market index funds, which have really low fees. For example, something like the S&P 500, which basically gives you a small percentage ownership of the top 500 companies in the US. Now, if you're based in the UK in particular, you should definitely open up an ISA, an individual savings account. And this is a tax-free wrapper where every year you can put up to £20,000 into one of these ISAs. And actually Trading 212 have a new deal whereby if you open up an ISA and you put any amount of money into it, they will give you 1% cash back on that money. So you're literally making free money on top of the ISA. So if you're based in the UK and you've been putting off opening an ISA, then this is the perfect time to do it. Either way, whether you want to open an ISA or just a normal trading account, you can head over to trading212.com, or you can download the app on the App Store. And if you use the coupon code Ali, ALI, when they ask you, that will give you a free share, which is worth up to £100. So you're literally getting free money. You might as well do it. So thank you so much, Trading 212, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to it. Okay, lesson number 4 that we've really learned over the last like few months is just really leaning into the idea of experimentation. Like for me, whenever I'm struggling to do something, I try and tell myself, it's fine, it's just an experiment. Let's just try it out and we'll see what happens. And similarly for this YouTuber Academy cohort, when it came to crafting the offer or crafting the sales page, initially, I wasn't fully sold on this. Like we were like, oh, is it gonna be too salesy? Is it gonna be too scammy? I don't know. And then we were just like, you know what? It's an experiment. Let's just try it out. Let's follow what's in the book and let's just see what happens. We don't have to use it if we don't like it, but let's just do it and see what happens. And then it was really, really, really helpful. And the other thing I think experimentation does, which is super nice, is that it reduces the feeling of failure. Like, when we think of scientists, experimentation is literally part of what they do. Like an experiment is like, hey, I'm testing a hypothesis or an idea, and I'm going to do an experiment, and I'm going to see if it succeeds or if it fails. And either way, I'm going to learn something. It's going to give me some data about whether my hypothesis was true or maybe not. And this is a thing that we've started doing a lot in the business recently, especially over the last few months, just treating things as experiments. You know, adding this extra sales feature to our landing page to add extra revenue for the cohort. Is it going to work? Who knows? But let's take an experimental approach. Let's try it out and see what happens. One of the ways to think about this is like, this is how Jeff Bezos thinks about this apparently. There's like 2 doors. There is door number 1 and then there's door number 2. Now, if you go through door number 1 and you have the option of coming back, this is like that. And if you go through door number 2 and then the way back is blocked, that's like a different kind of decision. And essentially what he says is that you want to recognize, is the decision that you're trying to make reversible? If you go through that door, do you have the option of coming back from that door? Or is the decision you're making irreversible? And he basically argues that if you are making a reversible decision, then actually the speed of the decision making is what's important. And I think that's where this idea of playful experimentation comes in. But if you're making an irreversible decision, at that point, you should spend more time thinking about it. And so this is now a mental model that I try to apply to any time I find myself overthinking a decision. I ask myself, is it reversible or is it irreversible? And if it's reversible, I can choose to take an experimental approach to it. I can approach it with the spirit of play, and I don't necessarily need to let the idea of failure hold me back. So lesson 5 is all about alchemy. Now, this is a book by Rory Sutherland, who's like a marketing and advertising guru. I actually interviewed him on my podcast, that'll be linked somewhere over here. And what Rory Sutherland talks about is how you can actually create value from nothing. For example, let's say you're a YouTuber and you want to delegate your video editing. I could create an offer where I say, hey, I will teach you in a 2-hour seminar how to delegate your video editing. That's fine. Or I could say, I will teach you a 30-minute seminar where I teach you how to delegate your video editing, and I will also give you a step-by-step checklist that you can follow. And I'll also give you the literal job description that I use to hire freelance editors, and I'll give you a bonus half an hour long of training where I show you how to give feedback to your video editors so that by the end of it, you'll be able to outsource your video editing. And the perceived value of that offer is way higher than I will teach you how to outsource your video editing in 2 hours, even though it's the same product. And this is the thing that just blew my mind. It's kind of unfair. I think just recognizing the alchemy, recognizing that the perceived value of an offer is not necessarily the same as the actual value of the offer, and the packaging matters a great deal, was a huge level up in my own business kind of acumen and business knowledge. Alrighty, let's talk about lesson number 6. Now, this is a concept that Naval Ravikant talks about a lot, and that is the concept of acquiring a specific knowledge. Number 1, specific knowledge can't be trained. If you can be trained for it, if you can go to a class and learn specific knowledge, then somebody else can be trained for it too, and then we can mass produce and mass train people. So if that's the case, then you're extremely replaceable. Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your curiosity, and building specific knowledge will feel like play to you. This is really good. This is sick. Like, this is what I meant by specific knowledge. You know, this video is about how we got to 1.6 million in 30 days. I think it's because I've literally spent the last 6 years building specific knowledge in the realm of kind of being a part-time YouTuber, like how to build a YouTube channel while doing other stuff on the side without it taking over your life and growing it to insane levels. That is specific knowledge that you can't really be trained for. Secondly, it's knowledge that I gained through exploring my curiosity. 6 years ago, when I started my YouTube channel, I never set out to make money selling a course for YouTubers or anything like that. I didn't even set out to make money at all. I just thought, you know what? I'm gonna make a video every week for 2 years, and hopefully something good will happen, and maybe some people will sign up to my medical admissions courses. And thirdly, acquiring this specific knowledge felt like play to me. People would see me, you know, when I was at med school or when I was working as a doctor, editing videos in the evenings and stuff, and thinking, that sounds like a lot of work. How do you have the energy to do that and all this stuff? But to me, it genuinely didn't feel like work. It genuinely felt like play. And so the lesson I would take away here, if you're watching this, is that what is the specific knowledge that you can acquire or that you can build in whatever field you're in, which would make you more valuable, would increase your personal earning power, your personal stock price, so that further down the line, you can monetize it if you really want. And then finally, I want to talk about PPP, not the Pakistan People's Party, but those 3 Ps are, number 1, patience, number 2, progress, and number 3, playfulness. So patience in the sense of this was not an overnight success. I've been trying to make money on the internet since the age of 13. I am now 28. So for the last 15 years, I've been literally trying to make money on the internet. And this is the first month that we have had. It's the first $1 million month or £1 million month or whatever you want to call it. The first £10,000 month was when I was 20. So 7 years into the journey. And the first £1,000 month was when I was like 18. 100K month was when I was about 25 years old. And now I'm 28 and we've just done £1 million month. And that's like a really long journey. And so many people are like, you know, I get emails from people being like, hey, bro, how do I make, I'm 13 years old, how do I make money quick? And I'm like, man, you aren't gonna make money quick. This is not about quick. This is about the long road. This is about having patience, making progress, and executing with playfulness. Brings us to number 2, progress. You gotta make progress. Again, it comes to this thing of taking action, having a bias towards action and actually just taking small actions every single day to get you to a certain point. It's about consistency rather than intensity, as like James Clear would say. You know, putting in consistent effort over a very long period of time compounds massively compared to like intense bursts of effort when you feel like it, when you have the motivation to do it. And then finally, I think the thing that makes all of this sustainable is approaching all of this stuff with an attitude of playfulness, an attitude of, you know what, let me just try things out and see what happens. Let me try and make this fun for myself, because fundamentally, I've been trying to make money on the internet for 15 years now. 15 years is a very long time, and I still think I'm kind of young. You know, 28. Some people might say 28 is kind of old, but like, what else? I've still got basically my whole life ahead of me. I've been trying to make money on the internet for like literally more than half of my life. But the reason it's been sustainable is because I approach it broadly with an attitude of playfulness. Whatever you're working on, whether it's your studies or your work or your side hustle or anything in life, I think approaching it with more of an attitude of playfulness is just the thing that reduces the amount of stress, makes it more fun, and makes it way more sustainable in the long run. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, you might like to check out this video over here, which is what I would do if I started a YouTube channel today completely from scratch, and that will give you like a step-by-step playbook, so hopefully you find that helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Catch you later. I'll see you in the next video.